Trusting people too easily is destroying your life right now, and the worst part is, you think it makes you a good person. The Stoics knew better, and what they understood will completely change how you see trust. Look, nobody wants to be the person who doesn't trust anyone. That sounds cynical and bitter, but here's the reality. If you trust people too much, you're not being kind or open-hearted, you're being naive, and that naivety is costing you. It's costing you money, relationships, opportunities, and peace of mind. The ancient Stoics had a completely different approach to trust that protected them without making them cold or paranoid. And once you understand what they knew, you'll never look at trust the same way again. Before we get into this, if you've ever been burned by trusting the wrong person, or if you keep giving people chances they don't deserve, drop a comment below. Hit that like button if this is already making you uncomfortable, because that means you need to hear it. And subscribe, because we're about to get brutally honest. So what's wrong with trusting people too much? Everything. When you trust too easily, you're basically telling the world that you can be taken advantage of. You're putting a target on your back for every manipulator, liar, and user out there, and they can spot you from a mile away. They see someone who wants to believe the best in people, and they exploit that. Marcus Aurelius wrote something important about this. He said, when you wake up in the morning, tell yourself that you will meet people who are meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and difficult. But he didn't say this to make you paranoid. He said it to prepare you, to remind you that not everyone operates with good intentions, and pretending otherwise is just setting yourself up for disappointment and betrayal. Here's what happens when you trust too much. Someone tells you a story and you believe it without question. Someone makes you a promise and you count on it completely. Someone asks for help and you give it without wondering if they're using you. You ignore red flags because you don't want to seem judgmental. You give second chances and third chances and fourth chances to people who've already shown you exactly who they are. Let me tell you what this looks like in real life. You lend money to someone who promises to pay you back. They don't. But you trusted them. So now you're out that money and the friendship is weird. You tell someone a secret because you trust they'll keep it. They don't. Now your business is out there and you can't take it back. You trust a coworker to have your back on a project. They take credit for your work instead. You trust a romantic partner who's given you reasons not to. They prove you wrong in the worst way possible. And every single time this happens, you tell yourself the same thing. You didn't see it coming. You thought they were different. You believed them when they said things would change. But here's the truth the Stoics understood. People show you who they are through their actions, not their words. And if you're trusting words over actions, you're asking to be disappointed. Epictetus taught that you should observe how people behave, not just listen to what they say. Someone can tell you all day long that they're trustworthy, but if their actions don't match up, the actions are the truth. Too trusting people ignore this. They want to believe so badly that people are good that they overlook obvious signs that someone isn't worthy of trust. Here's another problem with trusting too much. You become an enabler. You trust that your friend will stop making the same mistakes, so you keep helping them out of situations they created. You trust that your partner will change their behavior, so you stay in a relationship that's hurting you. You trust that someone means well, even when their impact is harmful. Your trust becomes a shield that protects people from the consequences of their own actions. The Stoics would say, this isn't compassion, this is weakness disguised as kindness. Real strength means recognizing when someone has broken your trust and adjusting accordingly. It means not giving infinite chances to people who've proven they don't deserve them. It means understanding that some people will take everything you give and never appreciate it because that's who they are. Let's talk about why people trust too much in the first place. Usually it's because you want to be liked. You want to be seen as the good person, the understanding person, the one who gives people the benefit of the doubt. There's ego in that. You're more concerned with how you appear than with protecting yourself. You'd rather be taken advantage of than risk being called cynical or cold. Or maybe you trust too much because you're projecting. You're a trustworthy person, so you assume others are too. You keep your word, so you expect others to keep theirs. You wouldn't lie or manipulate, so you don't expect it from others. But the Stoics knew that just because you operate a certain way doesn't mean everyone else does. Marcus Aurelius was one of the most powerful men in the world, and even he knew that people around him had their own agendas that didn't align with his. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. When you keep trusting people who've shown they're not trustworthy, you're actually disrespecting yourself. You're saying that maintaining the illusion of trust is more important than your own well-being. You're saying that you'd rather get hurt again than set a boundary. Every time you give someone another chance they haven't earned, you're telling yourself that you don't deserve better treatment. The Stoics were huge on self-respect. Seneca wrote that a person who doesn't respect themselves can't expect respect from others. And when you trust people who've repeatedly broken that trust, you're demonstrating a lack of self-respect. You're showing that your boundaries mean nothing, that your peace of mind is negotiable, that you can be lied to, used, and disappointed without any real consequences. Now let's talk about what trust should actually look like according to Stoic principles. Trust isn't something you give freely to everyone. It's something people earn through consistent action over time. Someone does what they say they'll do once? That's good, but it's just one data point. They do it repeatedly? Now you're building evidence that they're reliable. They prove themselves in small things before you trust them with big things. This isn't being paranoid or closed off. This is being intelligent. Epictetus said that no great thing is created suddenly, any more than a bunch of grapes or a fig. Building trust takes time because character reveals itself through patterns, not isolated incidents. Two trusting people skip this process. They meet someone, have a good feeling about them, and immediately trust them with important things. That's not wisdom. That's recklessness. Here's a practical framework the Stoics would approve of. When you meet someone, start with neutral observation. Don't assume they're trustworthy or untrustworthy. Just watch. How do they treat other people? Do their actions match their words? Do they take responsibility when they mess up or blame others? Are they consistent or do they change their story? Do they respect boundaries or push past them? As they demonstrate reliability in small things, you can trust them with slightly bigger things. But you're always watching, always evaluating, always willing to adjust if their behavior changes. Trust becomes a living thing that grows or shrinks based on continued evidence, not a fixed thing you give once and never reconsider. Here's the truth that's going to hurt if you trust too much. Most of your problems with people could have been avoided if you'd paid attention to the signs you ignored. That person who betrayed you, they showed you who they were early on. That friend who used you, they had a pattern you chose not to see. That partner who lied, there were red flags you explained away because you wanted to trust them. The Stoics believed in accepting reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. When someone shows you through their actions that they're not trustworthy, believe them. Don't make excuses for them. Don't give them chances they haven't earned. Don't trust them with important things, hoping this time will be different. That's not faith in humanity. That's denial of reality. Marcus Aurelius understood something crucial. He knew that you can't control other people's character or choices. You can only control your own responses. So when someone proves they're untrustworthy, your job isn't to fix them or to keep trusting them anyway. Your job is to protect yourself by adjusting how much access they have to your life. Maybe that means distancing yourself. Maybe it means never trusting them with certain things again. Maybe it means cutting them off completely. This doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a wise person. The Stoics valued wisdom above almost everything else. And wisdom means learning from experience, recognizing patterns, and making decisions that protect your well-being. Continuing to trust people who've shown they don't deserve it isn't noble. It's foolish. Look, the goal here isn't to become someone who trusts nobody. That's just as problematic as trusting everyone. The goal is to become someone who trusts intelligently. You give people opportunities to earn trust through their actions. You pay attention to patterns, not just promises. You're willing to trust deeply, but only after someone has proven over time that they're worthy of that trust. And when someone breaks your trust, you don't pretend it didn't happen. You don't make excuses for them. You adjust accordingly. Maybe they get a chance to rebuild trust if they genuinely work to earn it back. But maybe they don't. Maybe some betrayals are big enough that trust can't be rebuilt, and that's okay. You're allowed to protect yourself. You're allowed to have standards. You're allowed to say that someone's actions have disqualified them from being trusted. The Stoics would tell you that trusting wisely is a form of self-respect. It's recognizing that your peace of mind, your resources, your emotional well-being, and your life are valuable. Too valuable to hand over to people who haven't proven they'll treat them with care. Too valuable to risk on people who've already shown you they can't be trusted. Stop trusting people too much. Start trusting people appropriately based on evidence of their character and consistency of their actions. Watch what people do, not just what they say. Believe patterns, not promises. Protect yourself without apology. That's not being cold or cynical. That's being wise. And wisdom, according to the Stoics, is the foundation of a good life. You've probably been burned enough times already. You've probably given chances to people who didn't deserve them. You've probably ignored red flags and paid the price. Learn from that. Let those experiences teach you to be more discerning, more protective of yourself, more willing to trust actions over words. The Stoics faced betrayal and disappointment just like you do. The difference is, they learned from it instead of repeating the same patterns and hoping for different results.